Have you ever stared down a really complex problem, maybe, building a new product or diving into some advanced research?
Or even just tackling a big personal project.
Exactly. And you just feel that chaos. How do you even start cutting through all the unknowns to deliver something, well, valuable?
It's such a common feeling, isn't it? Doesn't matter if it's tech or science or just life.
Hmm.
Complex work, it needs more than just a rigid plan.
It needs adaptability.
That's the word.
Absolutely. And today we're doing a deep dive into a framework that's specifically designed to bring some order to that chaos, Scrum. We're pulling directly from the source, the definitive guide, the Scrum Guide,
Yeah.
the 2020 edition, written by the creators themselves, Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland.
Yeah, and our mission today is really to unpack this lightweight framework. The guide itself calls it the rules of the game.
Rules of the game, I like that.
You want to dig out the core ideas, maybe find some of those, aha moments you might miss otherwise.
And the practical bits, too, how it actually helps manage complex work.
Exactly. Show how it helps generate value and really why understanding its structure is so vital for, well, navigating complexity today.
Okay, let's start at the beginning, the origin story. Ken Schwaber and Jeff Sutherland developed Scrum way back in the early 90s.
Right.
But the guide, the official document, wasn't written until 2010. That's quite a gap. What does that tell us?
Yeah, that gap is really telling, I think. It means Scrum wasn't just thought up in a vacuum. It was like forged in practice.
Through actually doing it.
Yeah, refined over years before they actually codified it. Speaks volumes about its empirical roots, learning by doing.
So what is the core definition then?
The guide defines it as a lightweight framework that helps people, teams, and organizations generate value through adaptive solutions for complex problems. Simple, but powerful.
Adaptive solutions, that seems key.
It is. Think of the basic loop. A product owner orders the work, the Scrum team builds a valuable increment, and then everyone looks at it, inspects it, and adjusts for the next round.
And it started in software, obviously. But the guide is clear it's evolved, right? For this ever-growing, complex world.
Definitely. It's not just for software teams anymore. The guide mentions developers, researchers, analysts, scientists, and other specialists.
And that word developers, it's used broadly in Scrum, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just a simple term they use to include anyone who's actually doing the work, creating that value within the sprint. So if you're building or creating, you're a developer in the Scrum sense.
Okay. Now, something I find really fascinating is how the guide talks about Scrum's integrity. It says it's purposefully incomplete.
Which sounds strange at first.
Right. It doesn't give you all the answers. It guides relationships and interactions. But then it also says it's immutable.
That contradiction is so important. It's not like other frameworks that try to detail absolutely everything.
So it leaves gaps intentionally, but other parts are non-negotiable. What does that say about the whole spirit of Scrum?
It's like they're saying, look, here are the essential boundaries, the core rules. Within that, you need to use your collective intelligence to figure out the specifics. It forces teams to think, not just follow blindly.
So the framework isn't the magic bullet itself.
No. It's the container for the team's own intelligence and problem-solving power.
Which brings us neatly to the foundations of Scrum. What's it built on?
Okay, so it rests firmly on two big ideas. First, empiricism.
Empiricism. Sounds academic, but what's the practical meaning?
It basically means stop pretending you can predict everything perfectly. Knowledge comes from actual experience. Decisions are based on what you can observe, what you see happening.
So try something small, see what happens, then adjust.
Precisely. Learn by doing, inspecting the results, and adapting your next steps constantly.
Okay, empiricism. What's the second idea?
Lean thinking. This one's all about reducing waste and focusing only on what's essential.
Cutting out the fluff.
Exactly. Get rid of anything that doesn't add real value, unnecessary processes, waiting times, complicated handoffs. Maximize the value you deliver with the minimum necessary effort.
That combination, learn as you go, cut the waste, sounds powerful for complex work.
It is, and it leads directly to Scrum's iterative, incremental approach. Taking small steps, delivering value regularly, it's designed to optimize predictability and control that inherent risk in complex projects.
And enabling all this are the three pillars of empiricism. You mentioned these are non-negotiable.
Absolutely critical. They are transparency, inspection, and adaptation. Without these three working together, Scrum falls apart.
Let's break them down. Transparency, what does that look like day to day?
Transparency means the whole process, the work being done, the challenges. It all needs to be visible. visible to everyone involved, the team doing it, the people receiving it, stakeholders.
Row hidden work, no surprises.
Right. And the guide gives a stark warning here. Inspection without transparency is misleading and wasteful.
Makes sense. You can't fix what you can't see properly.
It's like trying to navigate in fog. You might move, but you don't know if it's in the right direction.
Okay, so once things are transparent, visible,
Yeah.
then comes inspection.
Inspection, yes.
Eesh.
This isn't just a casual glance. It means frequently and diligently checking the Scrum artifacts, the things the team produces, and their progress towards the goals they've set.
Actively looking for problems.
Exactly. Looking for deviations, variances, anything that's off track.
Mm-hmm.
Scrum provides a rhythm for this through its 5 events, which we'll definitely get into.
And if inspection reveals something's off,
Then you need adaptation. This
Yeah.
is the crucial follow-through. If the process is deviating or the product isn't quite right, adjustments have to be made.
and quickly.
As soon as possible, yes, to minimize any further deviation. And this really highlights another key point from the guide.
Which is,
Adaptation becomes more difficult when the people involved are not empowered or self-managing.
so the team needs the authority to actually make those adjustments.
Precisely. They need to be autonomous, able to react quickly without getting bogged down in bureaucracy.
So it's clear this isn't just a mechanical process. It's deeply about people, empowerment, how they behave.
Totally. The Scrum Guide puts a huge emphasis on the human element. It talks about 5 core values:
Right, the Scrum values, what are they?
commitment, focus, openness, respect, and courage.
And these aren't just like nice words on a poster.
Not at all. They're meant to actively guide the team's work, their actions, how they interact. When a team really lives these values, it builds trust.
And trust is essential for that transparency and inspection to actually work.
Exactly. You need trust to be open about problems, to have the courage to tackle them, to respect different perspectives, focus on the goal, and commit to achieving it.
And holding all this together is the Scrum team itself, the fundamental unit of Scrum.
Yes. It's designed as a small, cohesive group of professionals. The guide suggests 10 or fewer people.
And the structure is specific.
Very specific. 1 Scrum Master, 1 Product Owner, and developers. Crucially, there are no sub-teams or hierarchies within the Scrum team.
Flat structure. Why is that so important?
It promotes better communication, faster decision-making, and shared ownership. They are also cross-functional.
Meaning they have all the skills needed inside the team.
Yes, all the skills necessary to create value each sprint. And they're self-managing.
They decide internally who does what, when, and how.
That's right. The entire Scrum team, as a unit, is accountable for creating a valuable, useful increment every single sprint.
Okay, let's zoom in on those 3 specific accountabilities. First, the developers. What's their core responsibility?
The developers are the people actually building the increment each sprint. Whatever skills are needed, programming, testing, design, analysis, they're the ones doing it.
And their accountabilities.
They're accountable for planning the sprint work, that's the sprint backlog, for ensuring quality, adhering to the definition of done, for adapting their plan each day towards the sprint goal, and importantly, for holding each other accountable as professionals.
Okay. Next, the product owner. This role seems really pivotal, and the guide insists it's one person.
Yes, 1 person, not a committee. That's critical.
Why? Why not a group?
Because you need clear, decisive direction for the product. If everyone owns it, nobody really does. It prevents paralysis by analysis.
So what are they accountable for?
Maximizing the value of the product that results from the team's work, and effective management of the product backlog,
Which means?
developing and clearly communicating the product goal, creating and ordering the backlog items, making sure the backlog is transparent and understood, and the whole organization needs to respect the product owner's decisions. That's key.
Avoids undermining their authority.
Exactly.
And finally, the Scrum Master. This role often seems misunderstood, more than just a manager.
Oh, absolutely. They are not the boss. The guide calls them true leaders who serve the team, the product owner, and the organization.
Serving? How so?
Their job is enablement, coaching the team on self-management and cross-functionality, removing impediments that are blocking the team's progress, ensuring the Scrum events happen and are positive and productive.
So facilitating the process.
Yes, and protecting it. They also help the product owner with effective backlog management techniques and help the wider organization adopt Scrum and embrace that empirical approach. They're like the guardian of the Scrum framework's integrity.
Okay, we've got the foundation, the principles, the people, but how does it all move? How does this framework create that rhythm, that adaptability we need?
Right, that comes down to the Scrum events. These aren't just random meetings. They're the pulse of Scrum.
The heartbeat?
Yeah, formal opportunities to inspect the artifacts and adapt as needed. They provide structure and regularity, enabling transparency and reducing the need for other, less defined meetings.
And the core event, the container for everything else, is the sprint.
The sprint is the heartbeat, exactly. It's a fixed-length event, 1 month or less, usually. Consistency is key.
A steady rhythm.
A steady rhythm. A new sprint starts immediately after the previous one ends. This time box forces decisions, limits risk, and creates that predictable cadence for learning and delivering value.
And what happens during a sprint? What are the rules?
Well, crucial rules are: no changes are made that would endanger the sprint goal. Quality doesn't decrease. You don't cut corners. The product backlog gets refined as needed. And scope can be clarified and renegotiated with the product owner, but only as long as the sprint goal isn't compromised.
And shorter sprints are possible.
Definitely. The guide encourages shorter sprints, maybe 1 or 2 weeks, because they allow for more learning cycles and limit the risk in terms of cost and effort if you're heading down the wrong path.
Makes sense. Can a sprint ever be canceled?
Yes, but it's rare and disruptive. Only the product owner has the authority to cancel it, and only if the sprint goal becomes completely obsolete. Like if market conditions drastically change overnight.
Okay, so the sprint starts. It kicks off with sprint planning.
Right. Sprint planning initiates the sprint. The entire Scrum team collaborates here.
What are they planning exactly?
It revolves around 3 key questions. First, why is this sprint valuable? That discussion leads to crafting the sprint goal.
The objective for this specific sprint.
Yes. Second, what can be done this sprint? Here, the developers select items from the product backlog they believe they can complete.
And third,
how will the chosen work get done? This is where the developers create their plan, decomposing the selected items into smaller tasks for the sprint backlog. This plan is theirs alone.
And there's a time box.
Yep, maximum of 8 hours for a 1-month sprint. Shorter for shorter sprints, usually. Keeps it focused.
Then, once the sprint is underway, we have the daily scrum.
The daily scrum. A quick 15-minute event every day for the developers.
Just 15 minutes? What's the purpose?
To inspect progress toward the sprint goal and adapt the sprint backlog for the upcoming day's work. It's their chance to synchronize, identify any impediments, and adjust their plan for the next 24 hours.
So it's really about team self-management and keeping focused.
Exactly. Improves communication, surfaces problems quickly. The Scrum Master ensures it happens, but the developers run it. PO and SM only participate if they're also doing development work in that sprint.
Okay, fast forward towards the end of the sprint, we have the sprint review.
Right, the second to last event. Time boxed at 4 hours maximum for a 1-month sprint.
And this is more than just a demo, right?
Much more. Its purpose is to inspect the outcome of the sprint, the increment, and determine future adaptations. The Scrum team presents their results to key stakeholders.
So stakeholders are involved here.
Yes, very much so. It's a collaborative working session. Progress toward the overall product goal is discussed, and based on feedback and insights, the product backlog might be adjusted. The guide explicitly says it's a working session, not just a presentation.
Dynamic, not passive.
Exactly.
And finally, to wrap everything up, the sprint retrospective.
The retrospective concludes the sprint. Time boxed at 3 hours maximum for a 1-month sprint.
What's the focus here? It's not about the product this time.
No, this one's about the process. The team inspects itself. How did the last sprint go in terms of individuals, interactions, processes, tools, and their definition of done?
Looking inwards.
Precisely. What went well? What problems came up? They identify the most impactful changes they can make to improve their effectiveness and quality for the next sprint.
And they actually plan improvements.
Yes, and they might even add specific improvement actions to the next sprint backlog to make sure they happen. It drives continuous improvement.
Okay, so those events create the rhythm. What about the tangible things, the artifacts? What work or value do they represent?
The Scrum artifacts represent the work or value being created. They are designed, again, to maximize transparency, provide clear, common information for inspection and adaptation.
And each one has a commitment.
Yes, each artifact contains a commitment to ensure it provides focus and keeps progress transparent against a specific goal.
Let's start with the product backlog.
The product backlog is the emergent, ordered list of what is needed to improve the product. It's the single source of truth for any work the team undertakes.
Emergent and ordered, so it changes.
Constantly. It evolves as the product evolves and as we learn more. There's an ongoing activity called product backlog refinement, where the team adds detail, estimates, and order to items. Developers are responsible for sizing the items,
And its commitment.
the product goal. This describes the long-term objective for the Scrum team, a future state of the product they're working towards. It provides context for the product backlog. The team focuses on one product goal at a time.
Okay. Then, within a sprint, we have the sprint backlog.
Right, the sprint backlog is made up of 3 parts. The sprint goal, the why, the set of product backlog items selected for the sprint, the what, and an actionable plan for delivering the increment, the how.
And this is owned by the developers.
It's a plan by and for the developers. It's highly visible and updated throughout the sprint as more is learned. It emerges during sprint planning and evolves.
Its commitment.
The sprint goal. This is the single objective for that specific sprint. It gives the developers flexibility regarding the exact work needed to achieve it. If the how needs to change, they collaborate with the PO, but the sprint goal itself should remain stable. It provides coherence and focus.
And finally, the result of the sprint's work. The increment. You used a Lego analogy earlier, which I liked.
Yeah, it fits well. The increment is that concrete stepping stone toward the product goal. Each increment adds to all the previous ones. It's thoroughly verified, and crucially, it must be usable.
Usable means it could potentially be released.
Yes, it has to meet the definition of done to be considered usable and provide value. Teams can actually create multiple increments within a single sprint.
And they don't have to wait for the sprint review to release.
Not at all. While the sum of the increments is usually presented at the sprint review, an increment may be delivered to stakeholders prior to the end of the sprint. The review is not a release gate.
That's a really important distinction.
It is. Value can flow sooner.
And the increment's commitment is the definition of done, the DoD. You mentioned this is often a stumbling block.
It really can be. The DoD is the formal description of the quality required for the increment. It's a shared understanding across the team of what done actually means.
Like a quality contract.
Exactly. The moment a product backlog item meets the definition of done, an increment is born. It creates transparency about the state of the work. If something doesn't meet the DoD, it's not an increment. It can't be released or even shown at the review. It goes back to the product backlog.
So it prevents almost done situations.
Precisely. And if multiple teams are working on the same product, they must share the same definition of done to ensure consistency.
Wow. Okay, what a comprehensive tour through the Scrum Guide. But we've really unpacked how Scrum acts as this coherent, you called it immutable, framework.
The core is immutable.
Right, and how it functions as this container for tackling those complex problems we started with.
Yeah, using empiricism, those core values, the structured events, and the transparent artifacts. It's all interconnected to drive value and manage the inherent uncertainty.
It provides that structured way to learn and adapt as you go.
That's the essence of it.
And for you listening, really understanding this framework, it can genuinely provide a blueprint, a way to find clarity, predictability, and that crucial adaptability, whether it's in your job or even personal projects.
It helps build that rhythm of discovery and delivery, consistently getting valuable outcomes.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, there's one idea that really resonates with me from the guide. It explicitly says Scrum is purposefully incomplete.
Yeah, leaves gaps on purpose.
And that it's built upon by the collective intelligence of the people using it. So here's a thought to leave you with. If a definitive guide for such a powerful framework intentionally leaves space for collective intelligence, what does that imply? What does that tell us about how we should approach learning, how we should tackle problems, how we should collaborate, especially in this world that just keeps getting more complex?
It suggests the real power isn't just in following the rules perfectly.
Exactly. It's in the smart, adaptive people using those rules as a foundation to figure things out together.